What's up, team 219? How you guys doing? Back again for another story of the week. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're safe. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're enjoying the videos that I'm putting together for you each week. They've been a lot of fun to do. So what we're going to do this week, since we only have one story, I'm going to break it in half. So we'll do Monday's video will be the first half of the story, and then Wednesday's video will be the second half of the story. Now, we are in Module 8, Week 3, and the story that we're going to be reading this week, the genre of this week's story is an opinion text. Now, when we were in school, we started talking about facts versus opinions. So, for example, in an opinion, that is someone's personal idea about something. For example, as you guys know, Mr. White loves pizza. So I may make a statement like, pizza is the best food. Now, is that an opinion or is it a fact? It is definitely an opinion, because some people, I don't know what type of people, but some people may not like pizza that much, okay? Now, what we're going to look at here in this genre study, and if you have your book open, we're going to be reading, the title of the story this week is called Edison's Best Invention, okay? So for all of you out there right now, a light bulb, if it's going off in your head, like with the cartoon characters, if you go, Edison, didn't we read about Thomas Edison already? Yes, we did. We are going to dive further into who the man that Thomas Edison really was. Now, again, the genre is called an opinion text, and then the title of the story is called Edison's Best Invention. Interesting. Think about the comparison that I just drew with pizza's the best food. So let's read about what an opinion text is. An opinion text gives an author's opinion about a topic and tries to convince readers to believe that opinion. So what do you think the author of this story is going to be trying to convince us about Mr. Thomas Edison? That he was the worst inventor ever? Or that he was the best inventor ever? Think about that. Opinion texts often include first-person pronouns. I think Thomas Edison's the smartest inventor ever. I think that pizza is the best. Opinion texts include evidence, such as facts and examples, to support the author's viewpoint. Now, my opinion when we first started this off was that pizza was the best food ever. Why? Because it mixes cheese and tomato sauce and bread, and it puts it all together into this scrumptious meal. What am I doing? I'm giving you supporting details on why I think that is. Authors of an opinion text may organize their ideas by making a comparison to a similar argument. So what I want you to focus on, the two skills that we're going to be focusing on this week, is summarizing and predicting. Now, predicting we did last week. You guys know how to make a prediction. How do you summarize something? What you're going to do is you're going to look for headings, and then in those paragraphs, whatever the heading is, you're going to look for the main topic of that paragraph, and you're going to pull it out of the story. And then once we read a bunch of different paragraphs and a bunch of different headings, you're going to have those main details that you pull out. You're going to put them together in a paragraph. You're not going to reiterate every single thing that was said. You are going to summarize what was said. Now, some of you like to do this, some of you don't. Set a purpose for your reading. It says, think about the title of this text. Look at the photographs. Which invention do you think the author believes is Edison's best invention? Write your ideas. Now, the cool part about this is the fact that you guys have already kind of done this. A lot of the dialogue that we had back and forth during week 1 when we read about Edison, I asked you, what was your favorite invention? Won't it be cool to see if the invention that you thought was the best is actually the author, what the author thinks is the best? And who knows? We're going to find out right now. So if you're not there yet, please open up to page 257, the title page, where it says Edison's Best Invention. Notice that there's an apostrophe S, okay? That shows what? Possession, okay? So whose best invention? Edison's best invention, apostrophe S. Just throw a little grammar in there for you guys. Okay, so right now, if you're not there, we are on page 258 and 259 in the Mind Book. You have a real-life photograph of the man Thomas Edison. Let's begin at paragraph 1. Thomas Edison was America's greatest inventor. A true visionary, he invented so many things that we could argue about which one is the best invention. Some of Edison's most popular inventions are the kintograph, the phonograph, and the light bulb. But in my opinion, Edison's best invention is the light bulb. We can compare inventions in two ways. First, good inventions give people ideas that lead to new inventions. We can tell how good an invention is by looking at how many other inventions it has inspired. Second, good inventions change the way we live. Imagine the world without certain inventions. What would life be like? A truly good invention changes our lives for the better. The light bulb has inspired the most new inventions, and it has made the biggest difference in our lives. But don't just take my word for it. Let's learn more about these 3 inventions, and then you can decide for yourself. So what did I say the skill is that we were going to be doing in today's story? Summarize. So what you should be doing right now is you should be putting a box around what you think the main idea of this page was. Okay, what do you think the main idea of this page is? I'll give you a hint. The title. What does it say? Did we find out what the author thinks Thomas Edison's best invention is on that page? Think about that. I also want to draw your attention to the word visionary. A visionary is a person who has new or unusual ideas about life in the future. Okay, so Thomas Edison would have been described as a visionary, someone who is looking out, how is he going to improve the quality of life of humans, 1, but 2, for generations to come. And he definitely did. We should be moving over now to page 260 and 261. Now, if you notice, there is a heading, kintograph. According to Jean Beretta in Timeless Thomas, the kintograph was the world's first motion picture camera. The kintograph inspired many more inventions. This inspiration led Edison to construct the first movie studio, the Black Maria. Black Maria was another name for the vans that the police of the time used to carry prisoners to jail. Edison's studio was small, stuffy, and had black walls, just like the police vans. So the workers called it the Black Maria. He also invented the kinescope and the kinetophone. To show the first movies, the kinescope was a machine that allowed people to watch movies. The kinetophone was a kintograph with a phonograph added to play sound along with the movie. Mr. Beretta says that the movie industry essentially started at Edison's lab. The kintograph inspired people to invent new ways of recording life in motion, from TV cameras to cell phones. An invention that can record moving pictures was inspired by Thomas Edison's kintograph. Inventors also created new ways to watch movies, such as television and online video sites. Edison's kintograph changed how we see the world. Today, you can all watch all kinds of movies at the movie theater. You can choose from hundreds of TV channels and millions of videos on the internet. You can also make your own movies with a cell phone. Now think about what we just read on that particular page and I want you to think about something as you are watching this video that I posted on YouTube that I recorded with my cell phone. Would any of those things been possible without Mr. Thomas Edison's inventions? Now that is something to think about. Also, remember, what is the skill that we're working on? Summarizing. Pull out the main idea of that page and put it into your notes, or box it up, whatever you feel you want to do. Underline, box it, write it down. Remember, is there only one way to solve a problem? Absolutely not. Now we're over to page 261. It says, you can watch recordings of past events as you were right there. And you can watch live events, even if you can't be there in person. Imagine a world without the invention of the kinematograph. Instead of watching movies and TV, you would go to plays and listen to storytellers. There would be no visual record of historical events. You would only read about them in books. It would be a very different world. The kinematograph made a huge change to our lives. That is why it is one of Edison's best inventions. So some really good supporting details. Remember what the author said. What does the author think Thomas's best invention is? Do you think the same or do you think different? So now we're over to page 262, and we're going to be reading about the phonograph. Jean Beretta writes that Edison's phonograph was the first device to record sound and play it back. Mr. Beretta says it was a major scientific breakthrough. The phonograph led to many more inventions. Edison invented the jukebox, the talking doll, and the dictation machine. Inventors who were inspired by the phonograph gave us vinyl records, compact discs, and digital music. Just as the movie industry started at Edison's lab, so did the music industry. The phonograph changed the way we listen to music. Mr. Beretta writes that before Edison, it was not possible to record any sound we like. Imagine a world without recorded sound. There would be no singles, albums, or music videos. The only way you would be able to listen to music would be to hear a live performance of a singer or musician. Since we would not be able to record people speaking, there would be no voicemail, audiobooks, or recordings of memorable speeches. Today, we can only imagine what the Gettysburg Address sounded like when Abraham Lincoln delivered it. But because of the phonograph, we know exactly what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech sounded like. Holy cow, it's crazy to think Thomas Edison. I want to read one specific sentence to you. Just as the movie industry started at Edison's lab, so did the music industry. Think about the two of the biggest things in our lives, right? You're sitting here watching a YouTube video, one, couldn't happen without Edison, and music. How important is music to our lives, especially at a time like this? How many of you guys have just sat back and listened to your favorite music for a long period of time throughout the day, whether it be you're working out or just sitting back and relaxing? Think about that. Would not be possible had it not been for the man Thomas Edison. Extremely interesting. It's also a great photograph of him on that page if you're looking at page 262. There are 3 words that are highlighted, vocabulary words. Compact. Things that are compact can fit in a small space. Very compact. Singles. Music singles are recordings of one song. So as many of you guys know, your favorite artist will put out a single. It's usually their big hit. Memorable. When something is memorable, it is special enough that people want to remember it. Okay, so think about it. What was the main skill that we were talking about in the beginning? Summarizing. I want you to look at that page. Pull out the main idea on that page. No more than one sentence. You can do it in one sentence. All right. Next up, we're on page 263, and we are going to be learning about the light bulb. Now, a light bulb should be going off in your head because the author stated what he thought was Thomas Edison's best invention. Yes, he believes it was the light bulb. Let's see what he has to say to convince us. Jean Beretta says, the light bulb is Edison's most popular and important invention. Light bulbs are used in many other inventions, such as flashlights, automobile headlights, and electric signs. The light bulb inspired more than just new ways to shine light. Mr. Beretta writes that the light bulb worked as part of an elaborate light and power system, large enough to power an entire city. Edison built the first example of this system on Pearl Street in New York City. This system was able to send electricity to many different locations at once. It led to the power grids that carry electricity to customers around the country today. Edison's innovative grid brought electricity into homes across America. The grid was built to power electric light bulbs. However, once people had electricity in their homes, they could use it to power other inventions. People came up with all kinds of electrical inventions: refrigerators, washing machines, and computers. The list goes on and on. If it were not for Edison's light bulb, we would not have power grids today. Without power grids, we would not have inventions that run on electrical power. Okay, what was the skill that we were learning? Learning how to summarize. You're pulling the main idea from that page and putting it into your notes section, whether you want to highlight it, you want to underline it, you want to box it, or you want to write it. There's so many different ways to solve this problem. You can put it down. That way you can summarize what we've read so far. We're going to stop here. So the question that you need to ask yourself, one, is what is your prediction about what's going to happen as we move further into the story? And two, you need to ask yourself, do you agree with the author and his opinion of Thomas Edison's best invention was the light bulb? It's his opinion, but does it match your opinion? I want you guys to think about that as you're answering some of the questions and posting them in the discussion. Peace out.